Hi friends, Simit here from InformedTrades.com. In this video, this is the daily trade review for January 13th, 2014. Basically, if you've been following along in this series every day of the week, I will go through my own trading process. I share the charts that I'm looking at and the opportunities I see. So let's get started. Okay, so here is the euro dollar chart now. The first thing I should note is that I have a couple positions on. So I always look to start with the positions I have on just to see how they're doing. Okay. Euro Kiwi, so we are close to my stop, as you can see. Unfortunately, I entered at the black line, the stop is the red line, and the target profit is the green line. Nothing much to do here. You know, I've had 2 losses in a row. This looks like it could be the third, but we'll see. I'm not going to move the stop or won't take much action yet. Well, that's reassuring. We have a long wick, so maybe some bulls have stepped in. That's what it looks like on the 4-hour. If we look at the hour chart. Okay. Well, we'll see. You know, hopefully this candle here signals the bottom. Bulls have stepped in and are now pushing the price back up. But we'll see. Anyway, that's the Euro Kiwi position. Now, the other position I have on that got filled is Kiwi Swiss. Let's take a look at that. Okay. And this is just in the early phases of getting filled. I am short here, so this is fine. It's a small floating loss, but I like it so far. We are beneath the black entry line, so that's a good sign. Okay, now into hour chart. I'm looking at the wrong chart. Let's look at the daily chart. Okay, there we go. So this is a little more concerning because we have the big green bar here, but we are the black line, so I've just gotten filled. And let's see if we can reverse from here. Okay, now let's go back to the euro pairs. Euro US dollar. Okay, not much here. So far, I would like to see a bigger pullback. That's often the case. Euro Australian dollar. Okay, we are getting closer. So this is something to watch. You know, we had been talking about a potential reversal all the way back here in late December. But you just got to wait until it falls back to a key level. And it looks like this is the level to watch, 49.96. We are getting close. Maybe early this week we'll have our chance. Euro Canadian dollar. Yeah. Well, this is finally starting to reverse, potentially. Canadian dollar lost, was in a significant downtrend, or it's going up against the other pairs, or the other pairs are going up against it. Excuse me, the other currency going up against it. As we saw, going back to, what is this, January 6th. So a week ago, last week, all of last week, we just saw Canadian falling, all the other currencies rallying sharply against it. Now, looks like we might have a reversal or early signs. We'll see. I'm not a counter trend trader, as we've discussed repeatedly. But for those who are, this could be an interesting opportunity. And for those who are not, like myself, we can, you know, begin the process of waiting for the pullback. Or if the pullback is occurring, we can see if it goes all the way back to 44.17. Euro Swiss. You know, I generally don't like Euro Swiss because it's so choppy. Very little movement here. So, as usual, I don't think Euro Swiss is an upward trend to partake anything in. Euro Pound. Well, we are getting closer to that level, 83.44. Not there yet, though. And just, support and resistance is a little subjective, but I'm looking mainly at this point here. It's the very first level. If price can reach there, then we'll take a closer look. But until then, not much to do. The interesting thing though is we are seeing euro starting to reverse against Canadian dollar. Euro pound looks like it might be getting ready to reverse, so we may be interested, or it may be getting time closer to a time where the euro's short opportunities are emerging. Euro Kiwi, this is also looking kind of bearish at this point, which is not good for me because I have a long position here, but that is what it is. As with all the losses, it's the cost of doing business, and depending upon your strategy, you may have a higher losing rate, a lower losing rate. I tend to have because I'm going for big gains, generally, often the situation or the nature of trading is, if you want a higher reward risk, you'll have to accept a lower win rate. Now, obviously, each trader should work towards getting a high win rate and a high reward risk. That's sort of the best of both worlds. But with my approach, I can be correct less than 50% of the time, and so long as the wins are big enough, that's totally fine. Okay, so that's the euro pairs. The short story with the euro now is, it looks like on the daily chart we may be getting ready to reverse, but need to wait a little bit longer. Euro Australian dollar in particular is close. So pound Australian dollar, does that beg the question of whether that's close also? And it is getting closer. So we may have an opportunity to short Australian dollar coming up via euro and pound this week. Pound Canadian dollar. Okay, just like euro Canadian dollar finally starts to reverse after a huge move up last week. Pound Canada also showing signs of the same. However, it's still too early. Let's at least draw the level. Okay, so I can start to get interested maybe here. Oh, what happened? Maybe here. Okay. You did see price, respond a little bit to this level, so it might come as a floor here. That's the earliest I could see. We'll see. Price is still 300 pips away from that level, so we'll see. Pound Canadian dollar. Oh, I went to pound Swiss. Okay, now we're getting close. This is a more intriguing possibility. Well, let's draw some more lines. Let's see a trend line here. I don't know if this is going to work. We'll see where the trend line. Okay, it is kind of working. Okay, so we are at the bottom of a trend line. I'm not too interested in trading just yet. I really want to see it follow that support level. And that could be, so pound Swiss could be an opportunity to watch this week. So we have this week, it looks like, pound Aussie and pound Swiss might be interesting long opportunities. I'm just jotting that down. I'll post some charts and some additional notes on my blog on InformedTrades. Let's see what a Fibonacci analysis looks like here as well. If we started the analysis, if we started from here, the breakout here. There is lots of subjectivity here. So it really depends. If we start, the basic idea is, let me move this up a little bit. So if we started from there, which is basically where a breakout occurred, that might be interesting. We also can move it to this base here. Okay, and that would require a little bit of more of a pullback. Um, but I think, okay, so basically at this point, I'm not going to put any orders on just yet. I want to see what kind of candlesticks form if price does reach 47.90. And then I can sort of reevaluate based on the candlesticks forming there. Basically what I want to see is, are bulls stepping in at that point? Do the candles suggest that bulls are stepping in at that point? If there is evidence of that, then I'll be sure to put an order on. Pound Canada. Okay, same situation that we saw with Euro Canada, where the trend is reversing. Pound yen. Okay. Now we did see this channel. The yen has been in this channel against a number of pairs. Um, However, it's now broken out of it, at least against the pound. So we'll see if it can fall to that level identified. We are still 300 pips away, so still got a way to go. That reminds me, I'm just gonna take a quick look at Euro yen. I want to see how that's doing, if the price action is similar to pound yen. Forget. Okay, so it is a little similar. I didn't draw the channel here. I think pound yen is going to be an easier pair to trade. Um, okay, because I don't see the support and resistance as clearly on this chart, and that's of course a little subjective. If you whatever chart you find more comfortable to trade in the case where it's euro yen and pound yen, the yen is due to weaken. Um, often it's a matter of whichever technical setup you prefer. Okay, pound kiwi. Here we are. We are now at that support level. Now with this, I don't like to enter on a big red or green candle. There's a saying which I generally like. You enter on the net or the tight range candles, and you make your money on the big range candles, which I generally agree with. I do want to see this level. We are at a key level. I do want to see price consolidate a bit. One could also make the case that uh, the bull trend is over in pound kiwi. I'm not entirely convinced of that, but we are below the 50 SMA, so that's something to consider. But in any event, um, I want to see. I don't want to enter on this candle in light of this big move down. It should result in a trading range, and as the candles get narrow, then I can formulate an opinion. But pound in general is looks like it's going to have some interesting opportunities and some trade setups this week. Okay, pound US dollar. Okay, we are falling. Can we fall? We still are 200 pips to go. 160, I should say. So nothing yet. Pound is gearing up. We may have a number of opportunities on the pound. Of course, I won't. My general protocol is to risk a quarter percent, a quarter of 1% of my account value um, on each trade, and to have no more than 0.5%, so no more than 2 trades on a single pair in the same direction. So if I'm going to go long pound this week, it won't be for more than 2 currency pairs. Each one, I'm risking a quarter percent. That's a pretty cautious approach. I think so, but I like taking a cautious approach. I think it suits my risk level. I can pretty much trade rationally without getting too emotionally involved at that level, and I can also afford to put more capital in. So it depends on everyone else's approach. If you have just risk capital and you want to take a more risk friendly approach, um, or aggressive approach, that can also work. Dollar Canada, nothing there. It's still, soaring. Unlike, actually, let's go back to that real quick. Unlike, Euro Canada and Pound Canada, we did start to see the pair reversing. Um, we are not seeing that. That's still a green candle today. It's a little narrower, but let's see how it closes at the end of today. So nothing really on Dollar Canada. Dollar Swiss. Of course, nothing based on my approach. There will be other traders who may be correct and have their own approach. But I'm just looking at the daily chart, and I'm looking for a pullback to enter in the direction of the trend. Excuse me. Here, dollar Swiss is a little. It's like euro dollar, like it always is. It mirrors euro dollar, and I'm finding it a little choppy. Um, price is right at the 50 simple moving average. We're still forming new lows. So I think we're in a bearish trend. However, I would like to see more of a pullback here. And this was, if you may recall, those who were watching the videos last week, after this candle on January 8th, I did have an entry order that just did not get filled, so I canceled it. But price immediately moved down. If it can go back to this level, it may be I may be interested in shorting again. We'll see. Dollar yen. Just one more thought on this on dollar Swiss. If it does go back to this level, the moving averages are now tilted upward. We'll see. I'll be interested to see how price reacts if it reaches this level. Um, it could be an interesting short. However, let's see what else is on the market at the time. Dollar yen. In any event, nothing there for dollar Swiss. Dollar yen. Okay. Now, this looks like it could be a more immediate trade opportunity. We are basically at this support level. We are almost at the moving average level. Now, there's also a level here, and one could argue that you should wait for price to fall to this level right there. You could also put your stop. So if I do enter at the black line, I put my stop about 80 pips below. I'm just going to mark that level. There, let's change the color. Okay. Now, is there really enough evidence to, let's look at what some Fibonacci lines look at. Let's go from here. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to wait. Yes, I think I'm going to wait. Basically, we're not getting enough of a pullback. I really would like, let's see if it can fall to 101.50. Dollar yen is, now this may be, I may be wanting too much of a pullback. But I'd like to see it at least fall to a little bit more, where we're within this Fibonacci range identified, which is also where the 50 simple moving average is, and there's a support level right here at 101.50. In any event, I'd like to, and let's see how candlesticks shape up, but I don't want to enter here. I think a deeper pullback, in light of the strength of the trend, dollar yen, that we saw going back to early November, I want to see a little more of a pullback. What also would be interesting is if we rally a bit from, like, if price falls to this support level right here, 103, rallies a little bit but does not set new highs. So if we go here, we rally, and let's say it goes back to 104.50 or something, 104.60, then we could, and then starts going back down again. Then we have a pattern of lower highs in place, which also would, well, that would be bearish, and then we may look to short. But we'll see. At this point, I'm still interested in going long, but I want a deeper pullback, so we'll see what happens. Dollar yen, and dollar Singapore. Okay. Getting closer. If we can fall to, so we got to fall about 30 pips. Let's see if that occurs. Let's look at the Canada pairs now. Canada Swiss. Okay. Looks like we might be getting a reversal. Still got a ways to go. Still got to go all the way back up here. So that's going to be 220 pips or so, 230 pips. CAD yen. Okay. Now we are bouncing off the 200 EMA. We are, the price is a little choppy here. We've fallen outside the channel. I'm wondering if this is a long, or I'm inclined to think this is still a long setup. Let's take a look at the weekly chart, see if that offers any further insight. Well, we might just be in a range on pound yen. So weekly is, are we in a range from 92 to 100? Which is kind of a big range, and generally prefer the daily chart. The price is below the 50 SMA on the weekly and the daily. So yeah, I think I would prefer to wait a little bit longer to make sure the trend is a little clearer. CAD yen to me is looking a little choppy. So based on that, I don't think I would take any trade here. Wait till it gets a little clearer. So that does it for the Canadian pairs. We aren't seeing many opportunities. The thing that most sticks out most for me today is pound Aussie and pound Swiss. I'll return to them at the end. Just take one more look at them. I don't think it's time to place an order yet, but later this week, it looks like we may get a chance. Aussie Canada, that's just still roaring, and this is Euro Canada, Euro Canada and Pound Canada are showing signs of reversing. Aussie Canada and Dollar Canada are still in that incredible trend. Canadian dollar losing a lot of value over the past week. Aussie Swiss, okay. Now this is also potentially interesting. We are almost there. So we are seeing a potential reversal, and this reminds me of. Okay, so I've been interested so far, or really thinking about pound Aussie, pound Swiss, and now Aussie Swiss. Now with the pound currencies, or the pound pairs, pound Aussie and pound Swiss, I'm looking to go long those. With Aussie Swiss, it seems like a potential short. That would suggest short. Okay, so that would suggest pound Aussie and Aussie Swiss are the most compatible. So there's really a potential in shorting the Australian dollar. We'll see if that plays out with the rest of the other pairs, but that certainly looks interesting here. If I put an entry order there, and I think it may be time to just, because the 50 simple moving average is there, because this support level plus 50 simple moving average is there, that gives me, let's see what Fibonacci looks like. I'm wondering if I need to wait for the candlesticks. If I have enough signs where I don't, let's start from here. Let's go all the way down here. Basically trying to find a point where the trend started. Okay, and we're in that sweet, Fibonacci zone right here too. So I think I can enter without waiting for the candlestick. Enter at the support level. And is that, let's see, if I enter there, it's about 100 pips, and I'd be targeting right here. Okay, let's make that one green. Okay, that is 82. Okay, so that gives me better than 3 to 1. That gives me almost 4 to 1, not quite. So here is our Aussie Swiss trade. I will be putting this on and documenting on my blog. Basically, we're going to enter at the black line, 82.15, target 78.36, that green line, and our stop is at 83.09, that red line. Part of me thinks it's prudent to wait to see what the candlesticks look like at 82.15. However, in light of the confluence we have a support level, we have Fibonacci zone, the 15 moving average. I kind of like getting the jump on things and putting the order in now. I think there's enough evidence. The reason is that sometimes when you wait for a candlestick, you can end up waiting too long. That's why in my personal approach, I end up getting a fair amount of orders that don't get filled. Which is ultimately that's fine, but in this case, when there is a lot of evidence, I feel comfortable putting the order on. In general, though, I do like to wait for the candlesticks. Okay, Aussie Swiss, Aussie Yen, still in this range, and basically, once it breaks out of that box, Aussie Kiwi. Okay. Now this is okay. Moving average just loaded a little slowly there. This, I mean, I wonder if we're forming a base and getting ready to reverse and go higher. So I'm a little reluctant to go short based on that. But even if I did want to go short because the trend is still bearish, I do want to wait a little bit longer. So nothing on Aussie QE just yet. And Aussie US dollar. Okay. This is also. We're approaching this level. I'm probably going to end up waiting. We do have 50 simple moving average there and a horizontal support. The earliest I could draw the Fibonacci in good conscience, the Fibonacci needs to capture a good move. Swing to swing. Okay. Well, this could be interesting. Shorting the Australian dollar from here. I think, like I mentioned, there's the issue of waiting for candlesticks or not to wait for the candlesticks. We have three signs here. We have a horizontal support. We have 50% Fibonacci from a swing high to a swing low, and we also have the 50 simple moving average. So I think those three indicators are pretty strong. Candlesticks are still my all-time favorite because they show you what's going on right at the moment. The candlestick, I find it to be the timeliest of indicators, especially when you couple it with support resistance. I wouldn't just trade a candlestick just on its own. But however, I am going to put the order on Aussie Swiss today. With Aussie dollar, I'll wait just to see what the candlesticks look like. So that's another form of diversification. Even though there's a lot of evidence on Aussie dollar and Aussie Swiss, I like a little time diversification. If I'm going to short the Australian dollar, and it looks like, and there may be especially other opportunities with pound Australian dollar later in the week, I like to diversify it across time. That can help me, based on how the candlesticks form and what type of moves occur, that can either eliminate risk or it can give me a way to modify my entry orders based on how one additional candle develops, one or two. So I'll wait on Australian dollar, US dollar, although Aussie dollar in general seems to have a number of interesting opportunities. So Aussie dollar, US dollar, something that I may be placing an order on tomorrow, especially if price can reach this level. Okay. That's it for Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, Kiwi CAD. That's still, roaring. Look at that. That's a huge move. So basically, Canadian dollar is split. Euro Canada and Pound Canada are showing signs of reversing after last week's huge move, but also But dollar Canada, Aussie Canada, and Kiwi Canada are still going with that trend. So um, I find that interesting. We're seeing a divergence or a bifurcation with the Canadian dollar there. Okay, pound or Kiwi Swiss. This is a trade I'm in at the moment, I believe. So nothing to do here. It's not going in my favor, unfortunately. But we'll see. Okay, and Kiwi yen. Okay, nothing here. Still more of a pullback. And Kiwi dollar. Okay, so this is interesting. We do have a breakout to the upside. It's not so good for my other Kiwi pairs. I have a Euro Kiwi and Kiwi Swiss pair on. Kiwi is New Zealand dollar for those who may not be familiar. But we've got a breakout to the upside here. I was short, or I was, what was I? Yeah, I was short New Zealand dollar, um, which is now, it looks like my stops are getting very close to being hit. Um, but it looks like it's breaking out to the upside here. Now, if we get a pullback, I don't want to enter on this candle. If we get a pullback here, it may be time to go long New Zealand dollar. So that's about it. Nothing on the New Zealand pairs that I could find to be of interest. I just got it wrong last week, so it looks like I got it wrong. My stops haven't been hit yet, but it looks like they might be getting hit later today. The one order I will be placing is Aussie Swiss. Okay, yeah. So we'll look. This is the opportunity basically. Look to short at 82.15, target 78.36, stop at 83.09. Related to this is Aussie US dollar. Which is similar in a lot of ways, but we'll see how this shapes up. We also have this. You could argue that this is a range and it's going to go higher, so it is one cause for concern. This is an accumulation zone. We have a lot of information on this on InformedTrades if you're not familiar with that, and that this is, basically buyers are really accumulating here and going to send it higher. But I still think, we're prices below the moving averages. That's a simple, indicator of what direction to trade in, which I like. Here's a support level or resistance level, excuse me, and the 50 simple moving average. So I still would be interested potentially shorting here. I'm just going to wait. Let's see if price gets there and what the candlesticks look like at that time. There is also not quite yet ready, but pound Australian dollar. Right. Okay. So if price can fall to this level, let's see what it looks like. Um, let's actually draw a Fibonacci from this swing low to swing. Okay, so we may need it to fall a little bit more than this level here. Maybe this needs to go right there. Okay, and that would put us really in the sweet spot. So I think that we still got 150 pips to go or so, which pound Aussie moves a lot, so that's not as much as it may seem. Pound Swiss was another one that I was looking at, and here we are also almost ready. Yeah, here you can make a case that it should go to here. Okay. So with both those, I was a little aggressive. I would rather, in hindsight, I would rather have it pull back a little more. So we'll see. We are still Well, this is only 50 pips on pound Swiss. But in any event, the order I'll be placing today is Aussie Swiss right here. And see if we can short from this level. 82.15, target 78.36, stop 83.09. Okay, that's about it. That's the trade review for today. Any questions you have, anything you want to add, join us at InformedTrades.com. Thanks and best of luck in your trading.